Welcome everyone to the first of many Port Technology International News in Brief videos. We'll be bringing you regular updates on the hot news in the ports and terminals industry. I'm joined by my colleagues Jack Donnelly and Max Schwerdtfeger, who are going to be talking about some of this week's hot topics, including standardisation, sustainability and the carrier boom. So Jack, if we start with you, you've been working on a story involving the Digital Container Shipping Association and some of their latest standards that have been released. Let's have a chat about that.
Absolutely. The DCSA, Digital Container Shipping Association, has brought in the major carriers to adopt their track and trace standards. What this event will basically mean will be that customers will have access to a standards-based API, advanced planning interface, which will basically mean that cargo owners will have better visualization of the cargo flowing through the supply chain, which is something that we all know in industry has been something which is massively growing recently. All of the major carriers have adopted these standards, which is great to see. MSC, Ocean Network Express, Evergreen as well. So this is just the latest that we've seen in a growth in data transfer. We've seen the single shared data window with the International Maritime Organization. So it's just the latest that we've seen of data sharing, which is really, really good news for the industry.
Yeah, the DCSA has been rolling these standards out over the last 12 months, I guess, really, and it's really on the shipping side. So what do you think, what's coming next? Is there any other things that we can kind of take away from this latest move?
Well, I think the growth of that standardization is really important. We've seen, we've hosted previous webinars that have highlighted that importance of that shared data window. I think the most important side of things for the ports and the shippers is that collaboration, is ensuring that there's single language there with what in terms of the ethics and as well as data exchange itself. So it's another step in the right direction, but definitely more collaboration is of course always welcome and needed. Yeah.
And I know another story then you wanted to highlight was in the sustainability realm. This is something obviously that the ports are working on across the globe. They've all got these sustainability targets to meet, but you recently spoke to some of the guys at the Northwest Seaport Alliance about their sustainability program.
Yeah, definitely. We interviewed the NWSA, the Northwest Seaport Alliance, who represent the ports of Seattle and Tacoma, but this is also Vancouver as well, which is included in this. They've updated their clean air strategy to 2050 for zero emission seaport related activities by 2050. Now each port is going to release its own specific plans for that, which could be a variety of things. Could be investment in onshore power, which we know is huge in the US West Coast, as well as electrical charging infrastructure, as well as air quality management as well. The NWSA have done a ton of good work already. They have the Clean Truck Program, which I believe is expected to reduce 33 tons of diesel particulate matter in the air annually, which is great news. And this is just the latest that we've seen of investment and real commitment from the US West Coast to decarbonising their port activities.
Yeah, I think that decarbonisation effort is very apparent across especially European and North American ports. We've seen recently the Port of Barcelona release their strategic plan for up to 2025 and beyond, really, and that had such a heavy focus on sustainability. I think it's definitely more to come with that, and it'll be interesting to see the development of the technologies that are obviously aligned with that as well.
Absolutely. And when we interviewed the NWSA, they spoke about how onshore power was a major goal for them in terms of investment. They said the majority of their spending for this clean air strategy will be on onshore power. So we know that the Port of Long Beach, we know that the Port of Los Angeles are both really at the forefront of that, but we're starting to see the Pacific Northwest ports as well really growing in that field as well. So yeah.
Excellent. It will be definitely one to follow.
Absolutely.
Max, such a big topic that you want to cover and something that's definitely been hot news as the carriers have been releasing their quarterly results, their annual results. But what we've seen is the shipping carriers have made a lot of money over the last 12 months. Considering the conditions of the pandemic, they have really they're in the plus, aren't they? So what's the latest with this, and kind of what does it mean for the industry?
Well, Beth, as you said, the container shipping lines have made an incredible amount of money in the last 12 months. It's been driven largely by consumer demand, as it always is in the container shipping line. As we've all been stuck at home, we've all been not able to go out anywhere. We're not going to the theatre, not going to the cinema, not doing anything like that. So we're all buying things like crazy. We're going online and we're buying stuff like you wouldn't believe. We've all turned our homes into sort of little mini shop markets, basically. And what that means is that there's no space whatsoever on container ships anymore. They are going back and forth with so much stuff clogged in. And because of the alliance structure of container shipping lines, they've really been able to utilize their capacity very, very well. And a report that recently came out from Jury Shipping Consultants said that this could continue for at least another 2 years. So
this demand is going to be present for until what, 2023?
Basically, yeah. It's not going to abate very, very soon at all. They actually said that we're now really in uncharted waters in regards to container shipping forecasts. And traditional forecasts, container shipping line is cyclical. Traditional forecasts simply are redundant now because it's very, very difficult to say when exactly this consumer boom is going to abate. Primarily because we don't know how the vaccine rollout is going to be. The more people that get vaccinated, the sooner economies can reopen, the sooner we can all get out and start shifting our spending from products to services again, like we were in the middle of 2019. Now, as you said, Drury have released a report and saying that this is going to continue for a little while longer, and what this means is that there's going to be more pressure on the supply chain inland, because as container shipping lines are filling containers up, that creates that essentially means there's going to be a scarcity of containers which everyone else can use, right? And so it's becoming even far more profitable for container shipping lines to send empty containers back to China instead of filling them up with agricultural goods or industrial goods, which they are already contracted to carry, essentially. And this has led to a lot of complaints, a lot of legal jostling. There's actually currently an investigation by the Federal Maritime Commission in the US in looking at the carrier alliances and looking at how they've behaved and whether or not they've broken contracts at all. And this could mean a fundamental shift if they find against the carriers, and if they find that indeed the carriers have broken the law and have broken their contracts. This could lead to a breaking up of the alliances. Some have suggested. We'll have to wait and see. It's a long, long way down the road. But it could be a fundamental change in how container shipping lines operate in the US, potentially. Potentially.
An interesting one to follow. And as you mentioned all these things, there's definitely going to be a lot of news coming out of that kind of story of where they're making their money and, these investigations that are going on into kind of how they've made so much in terms of their profits. But thank you both, as always. And for our audience, if you want any more information on those stories or anything else to do with standardization, sustainability, or the shipping lines, head to the Port Technology International website.